Hello everybody, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make these adorable little dinosaurs. It's really easy. You're only going to need to know how to do single crochet, half double crochet, some chain stitches, and that's about it. This one was made using like a 3-weight yarn and a 3.25 millimeter crochet hook. And this one is made with 5-weight yarn and a 5 millimeter crochet hook. So I would recommend if you just have like a basic 4-weight yarn, then you can use like a 4 millimeter crochet hook. It doesn't have to be exactly the same hook size. You just want your dinosaur to have tight enough stitches so that you can't see the stuffing through it. So what you're going to need to make these is first choose the yarn you want to use and pick the appropriate hook size that you will need. And then you're going to need stuffing to stuff your doll. I like to use just polyfill, and then you're going to need 2 little plastic safety eyes. And then this is totally optional, but if you want to do some embroidery like I did, you can see I did like little eyelashes. And this one I added little flowers on. That's totally optional though, so you're just going to need some embroidery thread and a darning needle. And of course you'll need a darning needle also, so you can sew on like the tail and the head. Alright, and once you have all the materials you need, let's get right into the pattern. Okay, so we are going to start by making the legs for our dinosaur. And how we're going to do that is we're going to make a slip knot and chain 2. So 1, 2, and now we're going to put 5 single crochets in the second chain from our hook. So first, second, alright, and now that you have 5 single crochets, go ahead and use your tail of your slip knot and pull it tight just to close up that hole. And now we are going to do for round 2 is we're going to increase in each stitch around, and we're going to do that by putting 2 stitches in each of our single crochets. So how I like to do it is I like to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know this is the first one. And we're just going to go ahead and put our first single crochet in there. And then into that same single crochet, just put another one right next to it, and we're going to do that in each single crochet around. Alright, and after that you should have 10 single crochets around for round 2. So count and make sure you have 10. And for round 3, you can place your marker at this point. I like to just use the tail, so this is my tail, and I'm just going to pull it through the last stitch I made for round 2 to mark the end of the round like that. And now we are going to single crochet once into the next stitch, and then we're going to increase in the next stitch. So into this next one we're going to put 2 single crochets, and we're going to repeat that. So single crochet and then single crochet increase into the next one until we get back to the beginning. Single crochet and then single crochet increase. Repeat that. Alright, and you should have ended round 3 with an increased stitch. You can go ahead and place your marker back in there if you need into that last stitch. And for round 4, we're not going to do any increasing. We are just going to single crochet into the back loops of each stitch around. So by back loops, you're going to look at the top of your stitches. Front loop will be the one closer to you. Back loop will be the one farther. So we're just going to go single crochet in each of the back loops around. Okay, and after round 4, you can see those back or the loops that we skipped. The front loops are like down here. They kind of make a circle around the bottom. That's going to be the bottom of our foot. And now we are just going to single crochet in each stitch around normally for the next 2 rounds. No increasing or anything. So through both loops, just single crochet around in each stitch normally for rounds 5 and 6. Alright, so I just finished round 6. You can count your rows like this. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. And you can go ahead and pull up a loop like this and cut your yarn here. I'll show you where I already made one. And just like that, and just leave this loop like that. You don't want to like pull it out yet. And you're just going to make 4 of these legs, and for the 4th one, do not cut your yarn. Okay, so once you make your 4th leg, this is the last one that I didn't cut the yarn on. Now we're going to go straight into connecting our legs. So we're going to chain 3, 2, 3, and now take any of the other legs and go ahead and place your hook through the loop on the next leg. And now what we're going to do is go into the next stitch on this leg, and we're going to work over this tail here. So you can just place that like that and grab your working yarn. This is my working yarn, and we're going to yarn over, pull it through that stitch and through both the loops on your hook like that. And then look, this is the tail from the other leg. Go ahead and you can pull that tight, and this does not count as a stitch. This is just how we are going to connect it. So you can go ahead and pull it tight. And now what we're going to do is make 9 single crochets on this leg, and I'm just going to be working over this tail because we're just going to get rid of that. So 2. Alright, and then I did my 9 single crochets, and there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then kind of a little 6th one from where we connected it that we're going to skip. So now we're going to pick up a 3rd leg, and we're not going to chain 3 this time. We're just going to go straight into it. So place that on your hook, and then go into the next single crochet. Remember to pick up your working yarn, pull it through, and then pull it through both loops on the hook. Go ahead and pull this tail tight. Where'd the tail go? Oh, it's this one. Okay, and then make sure you're using your working yarn, not the tail, to do your 9 single crochets. Alright, and after your 9th single crochet, for this one we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and like we did before, do this, just like we did with the second one. Just go ahead and attach it. And of course, do your 9 single crochets. Okay, and now all our legs are attached. They look like this. And be careful not to twist them. And we're going to just attach it to this next one. And how I like to do this is count 9 back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we don't have another loop here, so we're just going to go into it. And just go ahead and work your 9 single crochets into this last loop, and make sure your legs are just not twisted anyway, because you want them to flow like from one to the next. Okay, and that is considered round 1 of the body. So for round 2, we are going to work 3 single crochets into the chain. So 1, 2, 3. You can place your marker in this first stitch or in the last stitch from the last round if you want. And now what we're going to do, now this is where we attached it, so we want to skip that. And just, this is the first real single crochet here. So just go into each of the single crochets we made on the last foot. Okay, so that's the 9 single crochets on that foot. And now right here, see again, this is the little thing where we attached. We're not putting a single crochet in that. So just go right into the next foot. Basically, you just want to count each that you're doing 9 single crochets around each foot and then 3 single crochets on each chain, just in a continuous round. Okay, so after round 2 of the body, you should have 42 single crochets around. So basically you just did 9 single crochets on each of the legs, so 9 times 4 is 36, and then plus 3 for each of the chains is 42. So that is the end of round 2. And now for rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6, we are just going to single crochet in each of those 42 single crochets around. Alright, this is after round 6. This is how you can count your rows. So row 1 was the chain, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for row 7, we're going to do some decreasing. So we're going to start off by single crochet 2, 1, 2, and now we're going to do a repeat. So we are going to do a decrease and then single crochet 4, and we're going to repeat that 3 times. So decrease by going through the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and then single crochet the next 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then decrease, single crochet 4, etc. So do that 2 more times. Alright, and after you do that the 3rd time, now we're going to do 1 more decrease. And then we are going to single crochet 20 until you get to the marker. Alright, and after round 7 you should have 38 stitches. And now we're going to do another repeat. So we're going to decrease, single crochet 4 3 times for this next round. Alright, and after the 3rd time, we are going to do another decrease. So 1 more decrease, and then single crochet 16 times. Alright, and you can see after those 16 single crochets, we are 2 stitches before our marker, and we're just going to pull that out. And we're going to change our end of round to this single crochet that we did. So go ahead and place your marker in that, and this is going to be the new end of round. And after round 8 you should have 34 single crochets around. So for round 9 we're going to decrease, single crochet 4 3 times again, and after your 3rd repeat do another decrease, and now we are going to single crochet 12 times, And after those 12 single crochets, you're gonna do a decrease in these next 2 stitches. So go ahead and pull out your marker and decrease the last 2 stitches together. And now you should have 29 single crochets after round 9. And now we are going to do another decrease, but it's a little bit different because it's backwards. We're going to single crochet 4, decrease, and we're going to repeat that a total of 3 times. So you do it 3 times. 2, 3, 4, decrease. So you're ending the repeat with a decrease instead of starting it. Alright, and after the 3rd time, just go ahead and single crochet 11 to the marker. Alright, and after row 10, you should have 26 stitches around. And for row 11, we're going to decrease. And now we're going to do a repeat. So we're going to single crochet 3 and then decrease. And we're going to repeat that 2 more times. So a total of 3 times. And after the 3rd time, we are going to just single crochet 9 to the end of the round. Alright, and after row 11, we should have 22 single crochets around. And for row 12, it's going to be very similar. We're going to start with a decrease. And then we're going to do a repeat. And we're going to single crochet 2 and then decrease. And we're going to repeat that. So we're going to do that a total of 3 times. So after the 3rd time, go ahead and single crochet 8 to the beginning of the round. Alright, and after round 12, you should have 18 single crochets around. And for round 13, it's going to be very simple. We're going to do 8 half double crochets and then 10 single crochets. So this is after round 13. We still have our 18 stitches around. And for round 14, we're going to repeat round 13. So do your 8 half double crochets and 10 single crochets around. And then for round 15, 16, and 17, you're just going to single crochet in each stitch around. Alright, so after you finish round 17, it looks like this. And now we're going to move on to the head. So go ahead and cut your yarn, leaving a long tail to sew on the head. And for the head, the first 3 rounds are going to be the same as the foot. So go ahead and do those first 3 rounds for the foot, and then I'll show you how to do round 4 and on. Alright, so after round 3, we have 15 stitches around, and for round 4, we're going to do a repeat. So we're going to do single crochet 2 times, and then we're going to do an increase in the 3rd stitch. So that is your repeat. Single crochet twice, increase in the next stitch. And we're going to do that a total of 4 more times around. After round 4, you should have 20 single crochets around. And for rows 5 and 6, we are just going to single crochet in each stitch around. This is after row 6, and for row 7, we are going to single crochet 2, so 1, 2, and then we are going to put 2 half double crochets into each of the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2 into the same stitch, and then into the next 4. Do this same thing. And then just single crochet in each of the next 13 stitches to the end of the round. After round 7, you should have 25 stitches around. And for round 8, we're going to do another repeat. And it's really easy. We're just going to single crochet 4 and then increase in the next stitch. And we're just going to repeat that until we get to the end of the round. After round 8, you should have 30 single crochets all the way around. So go ahead and count your rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then for rounds 9 to 13, we are just going to single crochet in each stitch around. So after round 13, it looks like this. And now we are going to do a decrease round, and it's going to be really easy. It's going to be a repeat. So we're going to do 4 single crochets, and then we are going to do a decrease. So just do those 4 single crochets, decrease, and repeat that until you are back at the beginning of the round. After round 14, you should have 24 single crochets around, and for round 15, we're going to do another repeat. It's going to be 3 single crochets and then decrease, and repeat that around. After round 15, you should have 20 stitches around, and for round 16, we are going to do another repeat, and we are just going to do 2 single crochets and decrease, and repeat that around. After row 16, you should have 15 single crochets around, and for row 17, we are going to single crochet and then decrease, and repeat those 2 stitches all the way around. So after row 17, you should have 10 stitches around, and at this point you can place your eyes. So you want it basically where the half double crochets are. You want that part facing up, of course. And then I'm going to place my eyes, I think around here on both sides. I'll place them and then I'll show you where they are. Alright, so this is where I place the eyes. I just try to place them evenly. Kind of difficult, but now I'm just going to stuff the head and we're going to do one final round. Alright, so I stuffed the head, and now for the final round, we're just going to do 5 decreases around, and then we are going to sew the hole closed. Alright, so you can see there's 5 single crochets all around. Now just go ahead and cut yourself a little bit of yarn. Pull out your loop. Now you're going to need your tapestry needle. Alright, so I have my tapestry needle, and I'm basically just going into the front loops of each stitch around. Oops. Of each of the single crochets. And then just pull it tight. And then go into the center like this. Pull it through. Push that in there. And yeah, that's basically it. Then you can just cut this little tail. It should just go back into the head like that. And that is basically the full head. I hope I got my eyes even, kind of. Oh well, if they're not, they're not. So now it is time to sew our head onto the body. And the way I like to do this is to line it up. It's going to be hard to do this while filming, I think. And then use some pins, and basically you just want to pin it in place, so into the way that you want it. So I'm going to pin it, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so you can see I kind of just pinned it on like this. So I'm sorry, my dog is making so much noise. And now I'm just going to sew it on to the head. Basically, I mean, I hate doing this part. There's not a good way to do it. You kind of just have to go with it. My dog is destroying my room. She already tried to get into my yarn. Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to do the tail, and I'm not going to show you how to do every single round because basically every round is the same. So just start with a slip knot, chain 2. Now we're going to put 4 single crochets into the second, chain from the hook, go ahead and pull that tight, and that is our first round. And for round 2, this is going to be the repeat. So we're going to increase in the first stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the first stitch. It's kind of hard to do the first couple rounds, but we're going to increase in that first stitch. So just put 2 single crochets in it. And then a single crochet in the 3 remaining single crochets on this round. So 1, alright, and you can also place a marker in your last stitch, like of the round, to remember where the end of the round is, but I just like to count them because it's so tiny. And then, so that's the end of round 2, and now for round 3, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just going to increase in our first stitch, and then you're going to single crochet to the end of the round. So literally every round is going to be increase in the first stitch and then single crochet to the end of the round, etc. And you're going to do that until you have a total of 18 single crochets around. So just keep going around like that, repeating that until you have 18 single crochets, and then you'll have your tail. Alright, and I went ahead, after I sewed on my head, I went ahead and stuffed my doll, and I tried to stuff the feet a little bit. You can see, just push some stuffing down there, and then I sewed on the tail, and the tail is just very lightly stuffed. Alright, he looks like this so far, and all we have to do is the belly. So the belly, you can go ahead and start with your chain 2. You can also replace this with a magic circle if you know how to do that. 1, 2, and then go ahead and put 6 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. Alright, and that is our first round. And for round 2, we are just going to increase in every single stitch going around. Alright, after round 2, we should have 12 single crochets around. And for round 3, we are going to do a simple repeat. So we're going to single crochet, and then for the next stitch, we are going to do an increase. And you're just going to repeat that all the way around, single crochet, and then increase. After round 3, you should have 18 single crochets around, and for round 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets and then increase and repeat that all the way around. And for round 5, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then increase and repeat that all the way around. After round 5, you should have 30 single crochets around. And now go ahead and cut yourself a long tail to sew. And you can go ahead and pull out this loop. Get your tapestry needle. Alright, and I like to start by going from the back to the front in through the stitch next to here, just because it like evens out that little jag, kind of. Oops, I kind of only went through the back loop like that. And now we are going to look at this little guy, and if you remember correctly, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, well, kind of 7, but I'm only going to count 6 for each of the legs where I'm going to sew it on. So 6 times 4 is 24, and then 3, 3, 30. So basically, you're going to want to sew this on so that you do 6 stitches on each of the legs and 3 for each of the little chains. And if you need to, like, if there's like a 7th little space here or something, then just sew it back into the 6th stitch that you do, if that makes sense. Okay, so you can see 1, 2, 3 chains here, and I know I already did 6 for the leg, so I'm gonna just go through this 6th stitch on the belly again. This one I already went into, so I'm gonna go into it again and kind of just even it out. So going through like right in between where the chains and the leg ends. It doesn't have to be perfect, just so you don't like unevenly sew it on. And then do 1, 2, 3 chains, and then we're going to go 6 on the leg again. Alright, and there's no chains really on this one, but just where it's like connected, there's a little space. So again, I'm going to go back into the one I already sewed to the leg right here, and just go into that little space between the legs, just so there's not a little hole there. And then into a new stitch, I'm going to sew it to the first one on the leg. And as I'm doing this, I'm just counting the 6 stitches on the leg, just so I know how many I have done. Alright, and I'm almost done now. I just have this little hole to sew up. And I'm just going to add a little extra stuffing so that his belly puffs out a little bit. So I just fattened him up a little bit and pushed some extra stuffing into his little legs. And now I'm just going to weave in this end. Just like to go into the body, out another part. Hopefully I don't pull out any stuffing. And then this is what he looks like. I mean, he's a little plain. I'm thinking about adding a little bit of embroidery to him. So let me decide how to do that, and then I'll show you what I did. Alright, so I decided to do just some basic embroidery flowers, And I'm not very good at embroidery. I'm basically just like picking a center spot. I'm gonna move this, I think. And this is all an extra step. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. So like just start by, you're kind of just gonna make a circle. This is literally just the most like basic embroidery flower design ever. I have no idea what I'm doing, but yeah, it's kind of cute. I'm just gonna do a couple more and then he is pretty much done. All right, I just finished up these dinosaurs. I didn't do a tutorial part for like these little embroidery things because they're just so simple. Basically, I just put a little stitch underneath the eye and went around it a couple times. And then I did like a stitch from here to here. Now, one thing that I didn't do, but I would recommend doing is I should have done this little, like the white part under the eye before I attached the back to the safety eye, just so you can get those stitches partially underneath the eye. And this one you can see I just did little simple eyelashes. It's literally just 3 little stitches there, you can see. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope that if you made one of these adorable little dinosaurs, you'll tag me on my Instagram so I can see. I would love to see how yours turned out. And the color choices and everything that you decided to make, you can tag me at Savannah Handmade on Instagram. And that is going to be all for today. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you have any questions or suggestions for future projects. And I will see you again very soon.